the hip-hop mogul walked into court as Sean Combs, but walked out as a convicted felon, yet simultaneously acquitted. His world turned upside down in one fateful moment. 2 convictions, 3 acquittals, bond denied, a remand back to jail, his empire shaken, his family and fans reeling. I'm host Name, and today we break down every twist of this headline-making legal saga. Stay with me, hit that subscribe button, and get ready for the full story. Let's rewind. Sean Diddy Combs, music industry heavyweight turned controversy magnet, faced multiple federal charges: racketeering, sex trafficking by force or coercion, and transporting women across state lines for prostitution. These were not just celebrity gossip-level allegations, they were serious federal crimes with massive legal consequences. Over the course of 7 emotionally charged weeks in a New York courtroom, the public, the press, and Diddy's inner circle waited as testimony unraveled some of the most explosive accusations in recent memory. Then came July 2nd, 2025. The jury delivered a verdict that was as confusing as it was shocking. Combs was acquitted on 2 of the most serious charges: racketeering conspiracy and sex trafficking. These were the charges that could have sent him to prison for life. But on 2 other counts, violations of the Mann Act, he was found guilty. Those counts involved transporting 2 women, including his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura, and another woman referred to only as Jane, across state lines with the intent of engaging in prostitution. Now, in the legal world, a mixed verdict isn't uncommon. It simply means that a jury found the defendant guilty on some charges and not guilty on others. In this case, though, the contrast was dramatic. While Diddy dodged life in prison, he now carries 2 federal felony convictions. Each Mann Act conviction carries a possible 10-year prison sentence, so in theory, he could face 20 years. However, most legal experts agree that consecutive sentencing in such cases is rare. Instead, they suggest that Diddy's actual guideline range is likely in the 2 to 5 year bracket. That said, prosecutors aren't playing soft. They're pushing for no less than 51 months behind bars, which is just over 4 years. Immediately after the verdict, attention turned to the issue of bail. Diddy's legal team requested a $1 million bond, offered to surrender his passport, and pledged he would abide by strict travel restrictions. Their argument was simple. Combs wasn't a flight risk. He was a public figure with deep ties to his community. But the prosecution wasn't buying it. They argued that Combs was not just wealthy, but had a long and disturbing history of violence and intimidation. They pointed to allegations of domestic abuse, threats against witnesses, and what they described as a clear pattern of lawlessness. The presiding judge, Arun Subramanian, agreed. He ruled that the risks were too high and denied bail. As a result, Diddy was led from the courtroom in cuffs and returned to the federal detention center in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. That's where he remains now, awaiting sentencing, which is tentatively scheduled for October 3rd, 2025. There's also talk of an earlier hearing on July 8th to finalize the timeline. It's worth noting that Combs has already spent around 10 months in federal custody since his arrest in September 2024, and that time will likely be credited toward any sentence he receives. Additionally, if he behaves well in custody, he could receive credit that further reduces his time behind bars. The emotional stakes of this trial were evident in the courtroom. When the verdict was read, Combs showed visible signs of relief and gratitude. He reportedly let out a sigh, pumped his fist, and mouthed, "Thank you," before kneeling in silent prayer. Outside the courtroom, his family was overcome with emotion. His son, Christian King Combs, spoke briefly to the media, saying they were simply grateful to see their father again. Diddy's other sons, Justin, Quincy, and Chance, were all in attendance, standing close to their father. His mother, Janice Combs, wiped away tears as the family held each other in a moment that was both heart-wrenching and surreal. Supporters gathered outside the courthouse in force. Many wore black shirts with slogans like "Free Puff" printed across the front. Some held signs, while others simply chanted his name. The energy was loud, passionate, and emotional. But not everyone was on board with the celebration. Some online critics condemned celebrities who expressed support for Combs, especially given the disturbing nature of the testimony during the trial. One public figure who came under fire was Ebony Electra, a longtime friend of Kim Porter, who called for the public to forgive Diddy. Cassie Ventura's legal team responded to the mixed verdict with a statement that made headlines. Her attorney, Douglas Wigdor, said the verdict validated her voice, even though the jury did not convict on sex trafficking. He emphasized that the conviction on the Mann Act charges still reflected the seriousness of Combs's behavior, and he praised Ventura for her courage in coming forward. He called the outcome a turning point in how powerful men are held accountable in American courts. Even though Combs was acquitted on the sex trafficking charge, the details that emerged during the trial were deeply unsettling. Testimony painted a picture of coercion, drug abuse, and surveillance. One piece of evidence that particularly shocked the courtroom was a 2016 surveillance video showing Combs dragging and kicking Ventura in a hotel hallway. The defense tried to explain the footage away, describing it as a moment of jealousy. Now, with the verdict in and sentencing on the horizon, the focus shifts to what this means for Diddy's future. Prosecutors want more than 4 years, while Combs's lawyers are pleading for leniency. They point to his long career, his philanthropy, and the fact that he has no prior criminal record. But many legal experts say the judge is unlikely to overlook the severity of the testimony, regardless of the verdict on the trafficking charge. This isn't the end of Diddy's legal troubles. Far from it. He still faces over 80 civil lawsuits. These cases span a wide range of allegations, including sexual assault, rape, and emotional abuse. Some have already been settled quietly out of court. Others were dismissed, but the vast majority remain active and pending. The financial fallout has already begun. One of the biggest blows was the collapse of his lucrative partnership with Diageo, the beverage giant behind Kirok Vodka. Once a cornerstone of his business empire, the deal reportedly brought in hundreds of millions of dollars. But as the criminal case heated up, Diageo walked away, cutting ties and triggering a chain reaction of lost deals and endorsements. This trial also reignited a cultural debate that goes far beyond one man. People are asking hard questions about whether the entertainment industry shields powerful figures from accountability. They're questioning how celebrity and influence can distort justice, and whether survivors of abuse are finally being heard. Some believe the mixed verdict was a fair outcome. Others say it proves how hard it is to win criminal convictions in cases involving wealthy public figures. Let's not forget who Sean Combs is, or was. He built an empire from the ground up. From Bad Boy Records to his fashion line and business ventures, he shaped the sound and style of a generation. He turned himself into a billionaire brand, but now, that brand is in jeopardy. These convictions, even if not the most severe, will stain his legacy. They will follow him into every deal, every contract negotiation, every public appearance. Some sponsors and partners have already cut ties. Others are quietly reassessing their relationship with the embattled mogul. So, where does it all stand now? Sean Combs has been convicted of 2 felonies under the Mann Act. Bail has been denied. He remains in federal custody. Sentencing is scheduled for October 3rd, with another hearing likely on July 8th. His legal team is pushing for reduced time, while prosecutors demand at least 51 months. That's your full breakdown of the Sean Diddy Combs trial update. Mixed verdict and bail denied in court drama. If you want a deep dive into the civil suits, a look at how his brand might survive, or not, or even a breakdown of the trial's legal strategy, drop your questions in the comments. We're watching this case closely, and will bring you every major update as it happens. Before you go, make sure to smash that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and give us a like if this helped you stay informed. We bring you the truth behind the headlines. No fluff, no filters. I'm Host Name, and we'll see you next time with more breaking stories that matter.